Hemmels, the best restoration shop in the world or a big scam? So I'm sure that a lot of you who are W113 fans are following Hemmels, which is a Mercedes restoration shop that's actually based in Wales. And Hemmels claims that they were a conglomerate of different suppliers, painters, engine rebuilders, upholsterers, refinishers, chrome specialists who decided that they were going to form sort of a large shop, and under one roof they were going to restore classic Mercedes, especially the W113. Now Hemmels has this idea that they appeal to people who want a car that is totally new or better than new, where they take every single item on the car and they refinish it to the point of perfection, whether it's a valve cover or a suspension component or a steering column or a seat or a dashboard. Everything has to be absolutely perfect because that's the Hemmels way. Now, for a long time, it seemed like Hemmels was doing something better than everybody else in the business, including places like Mercedes Classic or Keenly. But after a while, some issues began to surface with Hemmels. And then after an investor came in, the Hemmels business was sort of straightened out and appears to be running smoothly. But we're going to talk about the history of Hemmels and their ups and downs and some of the things they did to promote their business. And hopefully you can learn some valuable lessons. So Hemmels at this point is only about 4 years old right now as we're speaking, yet they've maintained this. So how do you build a reputation like this out of thin air? Well, you might start by picking different automotive journalists who write for Mercedes and classic car-oriented publications from all around the world and flying them to Hemmels and then showing them around and putting them up in a nice hotel and feeding them for a few days and giving them a few other kickbacks so that they might like you a little bit more and say nice things about you. So that's a good way to do it. You know, a little bit of the pharmaceutical industry blending in with the classic car restoration industry. Another way might be to get their own people to write advertorial-esque pieces for classic car magazines. I know that this happened with the Star, where they convinced Graham Robson, after wining and dining him for a while, to say something nice about Hemmels. And because Robson is British and Hemmels is also sort of British, Robson had nothing but glowing things to say. Now, the problems with Hemmels started to surface through some what we call the internet back door. And a lot of this came to me via the Pagoda, the SL113 forum. Now, this was about a year ago when I participated in a thread on SL113.org about Hemmels and what their business practices were like. Now, I did not contribute this information. It's more like I actually picked it up from the thread. And eventually the moderators decided to close the thread because it got so nasty. But Michael Salemi, the advertising coordinator for the Star, who makes quite a bit of money from the Hemmels ads, was quick to defend them because he knows that Hemmels is a great source of revenue. And I was not so quick to defend them because I'm suspicious of any business that engages in the following practices. Number one, asking for huge amounts of money from their customers, somewhere between $80,000 and $150,000 for work that has not been completed yet. And then asking for additional monies on top of that, even when the first round of monies hasn't been allocated towards work that has been completed. So some people who had cars there got really angry about this and said, why am I giving you $150,000 to have my engine rebuilt and my body stripped and repainted, and then another $80,000 and my car hasn't even been painted yet and my engine hasn't even been rebuilt? What is all this money for? And then these people would try to pull their cars out of the shop, and Hemmels would say, okay, well, we're keeping all your $150,000. We're going to keep it. We're not giving you a refund at all. And so what this says is that Hemmels might just be a cash-strapped business. I don't know. Maybe some of you can chime in on this. Now, these practices were really driving the the some customers crazy, but most people who have the means to afford their car, also usually discreet and intelligent people, and they don't go around bad mouthing Hemmels all over the internet. Nevertheless, their problems caught up with them, and they went into receivership, which basically means you're bankrupt, and the British government had to come in. Now, an angel investor who had a car there whose needs were not getting met decided to come in and buy Hemmels and straighten the business out. This is about a year and a half ago, and we'll see if these if these new monies yield any fruition. But Hemmels had massive debts to its suppliers. It had massive debts to its customers. Apparently, a lot of the cars that were restored were not delivered as promised. So that means that if you're expecting a like new 280SL, that's not actually what you got. You just got a car with a bunch of shiny bits on it that may not necessarily work synchronously. The big problem with shops like this is that they take on so many projects and they get so far ahead of themselves that the end result is frequently pandemonium, where the people who are running the shop are not producing the products that they say they're going to, and yet they're so cash strapped with payroll and the cost of actually running the place with insurance and leasing the space and other logistical costs that they never quite catch up to being finished. Anyway, if you have any comments about Hemmels, please leave them below. And in the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, please let us know. We hope that you got a lot out of it. And if you're a Patreon supporter, we greatly appreciate it. And we hope to help you any way we can. In the meantime, enjoy your Mercedes and don't get caught up in the glam and flash of an over-the-top restoration.